Hopefully people are joining us now. Let's see. We got some people filtering in. I know we had about 20 people in the waiting room just a second ago. So thank you for taking time. I guess this could be your lunch if you're on the West Coast and maybe your after school time around 3:30 on the East Coast. And then for those of you in the middle of the country, thank you for interrupting your day for us. And welcome back to school. I guess I'm Adrian Crook. I am the product manager for typing.com. And I'm joining you from Vancouver, Canada. I'm going to make a tiny bit of small talk while we wait for people to join here, but I won't waste everyone's time too much. Um, yeah, and then with me I have Molly, who is our curriculum specialist. Molly is, I'll let her introduce herself in a second, but she's on the West Coast as well. Brent is also on the West Coast. Brent is our technical director, and we'll be talking about rostering stuff today. And he is just down there in Seattle. And in whereabouts are you right now?
Houston, Texas,
Houston, Texas. So you
Central.
are in the middle there. Okay, cool. We have
Yep.
no one from the East Coast today. Cool. And thanks. This is the second one of these we've done, and we have a third one on August 28th. So if there's anyone that you want to refer to this in the future, that would be the next one. You can find the information on that on typing.com's What's New section. There's a little article there. I think it's the second article from the top now, and you can find the registration link there for the next one on August 28th. Today, we'll probably spend about 20 or 25 minutes going over some of the new stuff that you may not be aware of in typing.com. Brent, maybe you could actually advance to the next slide in the interest
Sweet.
of,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, is that it? Yeah. No, do we not have an agenda slide? Yeah, agenda for today. There we go. So we're going to spend a little bit going through what's new in typing.com, maybe stuff that launched either over the summer or in the latter portion of last year, of last school year, that is. So you may not be aware of it. There's some really cool stuff in there that may actually help you onboard your students and teachers if you're a school admin or district admin into the new school year. Brent's going to talk about some of the rostering options available. So if you're looking to be able to quickly set up and sync your class and student data, what is available there, if you haven't already discovered that. Molly will talk about standards alignment, which has been a big push for us over the last year or two, probably more like a couple of years or more at this point with typing.com. So there's some really cool stuff happening there. She'll also talk about our Beyond Typing curriculum. This is content that's available to Plus typing.com Plus users, and it's a lot of really, really cool stuff around digital citizenship and beyond, now AI as well. And then from sales, she's going to talk a little bit about the features you can discover in Plus, just a quick review of that, and then we'll move on to Q&A. So we did receive a huge amount of questions. Thank you for those ahead of time. And I've compiled them for the group, and we've got them here on our desktops, on our respective desktops. So we will sort of intersperse answering those with answering questions in the chat and from the chat and that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll do our very best to get to every last thing. And and I see a question in the chat asking if their microphone is off. I am pretty sure everyone's microphones are off by default. So don't worry about that. I don't believe we even see you, as a matter of fact. I can't on my desktop. So don't worry about anything from a privacy perspective. Okay, so Brent, we can just move to the next slide. We're going to get going here as it's almost 5 past, or 12:35 in my time here. Okay, so let's go really quickly here. First up, we'll just proceed. May as well just jump to the next slide. AI lessons. We launched AI lessons. I think it was probably in about June. Molly, was it around June maybe? So yeah, everyone would have been out of school at that point. We wanted to have this ready for the new school year. And Molly will talk a tiny bit about this probably in her section, but basically it's introduction to responsible use of AI, and it spans grades 3 through 12. Obviously, it adapts to each student or each grade throughout that span in sort of 3 large chunks. So they're obviously getting increasingly more sophisticated AI curriculum throughout that. We will have an interactive component of this, like i.e. more interactive than typing, launching relatively soon as well, where students will be able to actually interact with heavily gated sort of LLM and create stuff accordingly. So that's very, very exciting. But you can find the AI lessons already in your curriculum. You can go to the next slide, Brent. Accessibility. This is a huge accessibility suite we also launched towards the end of last year. So it includes things like dyslexic font. Let me just proceed. Yeah, dyslexic font. Yeah, right-handed typing, left-handed typing for those students that maybe had an accident over the summer and came back with a sprained hand or something. So we've also got high contrast themes. For those students that are vision impaired, and then some of the other features we've already integrated into the product prior, but we've now better supported. So I see a question in the chat about where do we find the dyslexia font. You can find that in the student options panel under accessibility. You can see it right there. So you can adjust this on a class or a student level. And this is not a plus feature. So, any student, you can do this for any student in any class. You can go to the next slide, Brent. And custom lesson sharing. We were actually just looking this morning at how many people had already discovered custom lesson sharing, but you can see you have the ability to, with any of your custom lessons, copy a unique URL and send that to anyone. They don't have to be in your school. They could literally be anyone. They don't even have to be signed up to typing.com. It'll help them get onboarded if they receive this. So if you've got a really cool custom lesson or custom test or something, a piece of typing.com custom content that you've created, we've made it very, very easy for other teachers to take that into their own custom content library. Did we move?
Oh,
we moved.
went fast one.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so that's custom lesson sharing. So I really hope you discover that. That is available to everyone. You can go to the next slide. And plus license usage reporting. So for those of you that are on the plus license, or do have a plus license rather, you can now very clearly see which of your students are using plus licenses, which of them will get a plus license when they sign in the next time. If you're out of licenses, it's very easy to identify that. So you can find this in your reports section. You can see right there. You can scroll down at the very bottom, license usage. So you can go to the next slide, Brent. Signable only custom lessons. This is obviously we've augmented our custom lesson creation tool to allow you to create custom lessons that are only visible within the context of an assignment. This means that you don't get students racing ahead and doing custom lessons as soon as you've created them, that you can set that custom content to only be available within the assignment. So it'll only pop up and students will only see it within that assignment. It just allows you to control the deployment of your custom content a little better if you do have assignments, which are a plus feature. You can go to the next slide. This was a fun one. This actually came from teacher feedback, the idea of restricting the students' access to games until goals are met. So that goal around typing time per day, you can set it so games do not turn on until that goal is met by each individual student. So that more clearly focuses their efforts in typing.com. And this is more of like a before and after test, if you will. So it takes their first attempts. This is the test improvement summary. It's a new report type. And it takes students' first attempts and compares them to their most recent. So you can see clearly over the course of, let's say, a semester, your students' improvement in their typing skills. And yeah, there you go. You can see a very clear example of it there. So tracking all their attempts overall, their best attempts, both with speed and accuracy, to get a really solid picture of how much they've improved. So, go to the next slide, Brent. Oh, yeah, this really should have been the first slide. This is archive classes. We have just launched this last week, just in time, hopefully, for many of you to use it to clean up your, to clean up your class list, no worries, in time for back to school. So we were finding that, a lot of our users, a lot of our teachers that have used the product for years and years, they have a lot of classes there and they were worried about deleting them. They didn't want those sort of alumni students, if you will, to lose access to typing.com. Now you can archive these classes and those students will be sort of unattached from that class, but they can continue using typing.com as individual users. But it just gives you a much cleaner view of the classes that are actually active in your account now. And curriculum time estimates. Molly, if you want to just do a quick summary of what we did here, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So we had a lot of people asking about how long our program will take if you're using our grade-based curriculum specifically, how long will it last you, which is a really tricky question because it depends how often your students are using it every day or, if they're using it a few times a week. So hopefully this will be really helpful to teachers. We went through and based on the expected words per minute that that specific grade level types, this is about how long it should take for those students to complete each lesson. Of course, this doesn't factor in if students will be repeating lessons, you know, uh, the login times, all of that, but this should give everybody a better idea of about how long it should take your kids to complete each lesson.
Yeah, these were hand created by you, so this isn't just some, you know, cold calculation.
Yeah.
Amy Merritt raised a hand. Amy, is there something you can write in the chat around what your question was? And while you're doing that, we'll just continue on here. Um, Brent, was that it for that? Oh, look at that. It's your turn, Brent.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Brent Strandy, and I run the engineering department here. And I'm going to talk to you about student rostering, probably something that you are either right about ready to do or are starting to do. So let's talk about the different ways you can sync your students into typing.com. Well, first of all, you can sync them with Google Classroom, Clever Library, or Microsoft Teams. Those are all teacher level. So if you are a teacher and your district might not be using it and you want to log in with Google, you can grab from Google Classroom. It'll automatically sync all your classes when you click the button. Same with Clever Library, Microsoft Teams. I'm going to get into manually creating it in just a minute. I think there's another slide. Okay, for Plus only, we also offer Clever and ClassLink integration. So what that means is your tech administrator will upload your roster to Clever or ClassLink, and then we will every night pull your entire roster down to typing.com. That means everybody that you've shared with us, right? So if you've shared fifth and sixth grade in a certain school and maybe certain classes within those schools, we'll get those every night. And if you make any updates to it, it'll be updated every night. And your students and your teachers can automatically log in via Clever or ClassLink. Really slick way to do it. Now going back to the manually adding students. This is our demo account, so I'm not going to actually add them. I just want to show you where to go and the different options that you have. So I'm in the fourth grade typing class right now, and I can go to my student list. And if, let's pretend this is empty, you can add students here, or you can add students from up here. Now, when you add students, you have different options. Creating a single student, kind of just a one-off thing, or if you have a list of students, you can just list them either by first name, by any way, a number, any way that you want to do it. If you want to put it in their email address, you can. First and last name, whatever. Paste a whole list here. It'll create them all in one go. If you have a CSV file, you can upload a CSV file. We give you, you can download a sample and you can populate it yourself. And lastly, this is a self-join link. So you can copy this code, send it to your students, post it on the whiteboard. Your students can then use this link and join the class and set up their own account this way. So those are the manual join options that we have for adding students. But it's pretty straightforward. Also, I just want to mention too, all points along the way, if you have questions, look for little green boxes. Little green boxes are ways that we can help you guys, hopefully. So if you need some help here, all different points along the app, we have these that link to our knowledge base, or they link to a video to show you how to set these things up.
Brent, you got
So
a question in the chat. I didn't know if you could see it, but you got a question
I
in the chat
don't.
about this. Daniel asked if you sync from Clever, can you still manually add or update a class or sync from Google Classroom?
Okay, so Clever, yes. If you're syncing from Clever, you can still create your own classes and then add your own students manually, or you can, yeah, you can still add your own students. I don't think you can add your own students to a Clever created classroom though. You have to create your own classroom. And then I see another one. Do you link to Schoology? Yes, we do. We support Schoology integration, but you must use one of these syncing options. So either Clever or ClassLink to roster to create your roster within typing.com, and then you can use Schoology as a login, SSO option to log in.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry, I'm looking through some of our pre-submitted questions to make sure I'm capturing some of those with the people that are in the call who made it to the call, so we can make sure those get answered. But moving along to Molly with standards alignment. Molly, you were going to screen share through some of this, weren't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take over here.
Great. All right. Hopefully everybody can see. Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm Molly. I am the curriculum director here at typing.com. I deal with all things related to creating new content and aligning with standards and sort of all sorts of things. I wear a lot of hats. So I also am a former teacher. I taught kindergarten for 10 years. So I am able to put myself in a lot of your guys' shoes, especially with this beginning of the year. All of the chaos around that. So I sympathize and I remember what that felt like. So, getting into standards correlations, I know that this is super important. We have a fairly new interactive feature with our standards. So you can see our lovely little map here. And if you I'm going to click on California, that's where I am right now. If you click on one of these, it will give you a drop down with all of our standards alignments. So if you are a state that follows Common Core like California, you'll see the Common Core and the ISTE standards listed here. I'm looking right now at 6th grade and pretty straightforward and clear. If you are a state that has state-specific standards like New York, for example, you'll see those state-specific standards and drop down, and there's all of those. This this shows you the exact lesson of where those standards are met or aligned with. If you are a state with state-specific standard that we have not updated yet into this format, you may see a PDF pop up. Just know we are still in the process of moving all of the standards over to this more interactive drop-down style. So we will get there eventually. Don't worry.
And no, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead, Adrian.
I was just going to say that just this morning we were talking about developing reporting around against these standards. So sometime probably this year you'll be able to generate reports as far as how many of these standards your students and your classes have satisfied.
Beautiful. Great. All right, so I'm jumping ahead because the next slide I was going to talk about is our Beyond Typing curriculum. So this is content that is available to our Plus users. For those of you who are Plus users, this may be a bit of a review, but for those of you who are not yet and are looking to explore it, I was going to give just a brief kind of walkthrough of what some of these lessons and units highlight. So in our Beyond Typing units, we have our digital citizenship lessons. You can see here we have a variety of topics ranging from, assistive technology through internet safety, search tips, all sorts of things. This changes depending on the grade level. So while this is 3rd grade, if you jump into, like a high school level, we can see digital citizenship then revolves more around media literacy, ethics, privacy. We even have some resume practice in here. So all sorts of great things. Let me jump back over to the 3rd grade curriculum. We also, as Adrian mentioned, have some new AI literacy lessons. 3rd grade has just a couple in here. We will be adding a 3rd one, as Adrian alluded to, that we'll have a very safe way for students to practice typing back and forth with kind of like a chat bot. And if you look again up in the later grades at our AI literacy, different topics, evaluating bias, citing resources, that sort of thing. So let's go back. Sorry, I'm jumping around all over here. We also have across grade levels, everybody has creative writing units. Again, those are different depending on the grade levels. For the upper grades, we have some timed practice and some extended writing practice so that they get used to writing up to 3-page responses, which is what they're expected to do on standardized tests. We also have a computer applications unit starting in 2nd grade, I believe, and spanning up through high school. Lots of great stuff in here. We have a test prep unit so that students can prepare for those standardized tests. This begins in third grade, I believe. Vocabulary prep, reading comprehension prep. They have passages that they read and respond to, very similar to standardized tests. Also, just to note, we sourced a lot of the style of our questions based on standardized tests from Texas and use that to help inform these questions. So also some written response in there, and like I said, some timed response stuff. So lots of stuff in here. Also finally our coding units. This is fairly new. We have this starts as early as kindergarten, so we have some sequencing and things like that in kinder, and this goes all the way up again through high school. So I know that was quick. If anybody has any questions about this, please feel free to type them into the chat. But yeah, lots of really great stuff in our Beyond Typing, and a lot of it aligns with those state standards that I was talking about before.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Molly. Definitely do drop that stuff into the chat. I can see some people have discovered the Q&A function here. So I see stuff coming in. Thank you, Kathy and Cynthia. Guys, if you could have a look at that as well. And I see lots of use of the chat. So thanks so much. You covered Beyond Typing just then. So I think next up is In. And after that, we are going to dive into the questions we received ahead of time. As Molly and Brent have been talking here, I've been highlighting the questions that we received ahead of time, who is in the call. So we're going to make sure we prioritize answering your questions first, as opposed to people that weren't able to make it for some reason. So stick around for that. And then, of course, please pepper the chat and the Q&A with other questions so we can make sure we get to everything. You're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm In. I am the sales manager for the Southeast Territory from Texas all the way to Florida. So why would you upgrade to Plus? Well, for starters, you'll remove ads from the student experience, which is important because I believe the flashing ads does have some sort of latency, which can affect the students' typing speed and accuracy. So that's one of the perks of removing the distracting ads. Secondly, it comes with a whole bunch of content that Molly created, which is computer literacy. So, in teaching students how to type properly and use the correct mechanics, they also will learn how to create Word docs, spreadsheets, presentations for their class projects. They will also prepare for short answer type compositions and essays. The test prep unit spans from grades second through eighth with grade level specific expectations and word counts for the typed component. And so that's a really great practice for them to start expressing their thoughts typed and get them used to typing that. So, when it's the end of year state testing time, they are ready, they don't freeze, and it's a familiar function for them. Also, you can create custom lessons. So if you want to create, starting in the beginning of the year, have elementary students practice typing their responses. What did you do over the weekend? And give them word time parameters or word count. You can create those and prepare for the expectations for the end of the year test. You also gain the coding lessons at the elementary grade level, and it goes all the way to the high school, and it gets progressively harder as a student advances. We also have a let's see, digital citizenship, which is very important. And there's a lot of content in there that is age based. So they learn about online safety, how to type kind responses, and also to use not using colloquial language and actually typing everything. Netiquette, research, topic pointers, and things like that. Let me look at the questions and see if. So the tips for the great thing about our program is it is self-paced and is plug and play. So what that means is a student logs in when there's time. Usually the access to Clever and ClassLink is really nice because all different subject teachers have access to this program. So if there are any time gaps, they can say, hey, class, log into your typing.com account and practice typing. And then so they pick up where they left off and they can continue practicing. Typing is like piano. The more they're exposed to typing, the better they get at it. And that is what you want them to be familiar with and to be able to type fluidly. Um, how do you get kids interested? We have a really cool feature where you can set class scoreboards. It's a weekly leaderboard of the fastest typer, the best typer in your class. And there's a weekly reset every Sunday. And this is kind of like a fun way to get students involved and also invested in the program and to also see their skills improve. Let me see. Yeah. So there's not an assist grade book that you can set, but you can export the grades that you can customize in our settings. So this could be based on speed or accuracy that you create as a threshold for your class or a particular student. And then you can associate an ABCD letter grade with their typing or accuracy skills or a point system. Let's see. So the way that our Plus licenses work is they are individual student licenses. We don't have school level or district wide, except for the fact that the way that our pricing tiers work is it's volume based discount. So if you have an entire district, you'll be paying a lot less per student license than one classroom with 30 students. So we do often offer volume tiered pricing. Um, what else? I think that is so our program starts at the kinder level, goes all the way to 12th grade. A lot of the middle school and high school teachers use our program for their CTE preparations. And what's cool about that is that for the secondary grade levels, we offer resume writing, job application prep, and also college application prep as well.
Okay. I think that's got it for the plus features, and we can probably move into Q&A. I'm going to sort of try to direct this. We all have access to the questions that everyone has asked prior to coming in the webinar, but I also still see the webinar chat and new questions. Thank you. Is it Mimi? Will there be a district dashboard that we can see all classes? There is already a district dashboard that we can see all classes. There you go, and in answering it as well. So you can sign in if you have a district or a school admin account, you can sign in as a district or school admin, and it will give you a very specific view at a much higher level view, obviously, not so much about students, but about teachers and classes. So you can, you can see everything you need and do reporting at a district or a school admin level. Okay, so I'm going to start working through some of these questions. Christy asks how to create my own test/content. And this, I think we've seen this a few times in terms of custom content already on this call. I will log in. Let me give me a second. Actually, if Brent, do you have that up right now or?
I do. I can show you.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, perfect. I'll also log in on this side, but if you could handle this one, it'd be great.
So you can go to the custom lessons tab here. And if you want to create a custom test or content, all right, yeah. So it's right over here on the right-hand side, or wherever you are on the site, you can come up here and create a custom lesson. So when you do this, you can create a lesson, a test, or a written prompt. A lesson allows you to create a lesson and pick any of these different screen types. You can add a game screen type, falling letters. These are only available to Plus users. Create a coding one. If you are non-Plus, you get access to the standard screen type. And so you could create it here. As you learned earlier, you can make this visible on the student list, meaning when they log in, they see it no matter what. Or you can make it visible only when assigned, meaning they don't see it until it's assigned to them. Now, the other thing is, if you are an admin and you are on your admin account, when you create custom lessons, it makes it available to the entire district or to the entire school. So that's a really cool way to allow your entire district or school to use the same custom lessons or the same custom tests.
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
think that
then,
answers it.
yeah, totally answers it. I'm going to replace your share with mine for a second. Yeah, so you can see just a second ago that question about the district dashboard. You can see up here I'm a district admin, and this is what a district sees. It still says average time spent typing per student, but you're looking at more like active schools. And then when you're doing all your teacher administration here and your school administration there, so it is a completely different view. Brent, you can take that over again if you want. Okay. Now, moving on, we have a question for, let's see, who do I want to pick here? Angela asks, this is probably a question for Brent. Will these accounts be new each year for students, or will the lessons continue from elementary to middle school? I think I actually saw that asked in the
Yeah,
Q&A
that
as
is a great
well.
question.
Yeah.
So, Angela, it depends on how you've set up your students. So, for instance, if you're syncing with Clever and ClassLink, and if your district um, changes the students every year, like they shut it down and they turn it back on, or um, anything like that changes, and we have to resync and it's different IDs and stuff, they'll create different students. But if it's the same student every year and you're syncing like that, or if you sync with Google Classroom and it's the same student every year, or if you manually create classes and then manually upload your students and they're the same student, then they retain all their progress. So if you're doing second grade one year and they type through the whole curriculum, and then the next year you change them to be third grade curriculum, we have part of the second grade curriculum that is the same as the third grade. So they automatically skip that part, meaning it's already marked as complete when they log in. We found that kids who finished like the whole second grade curriculum didn't need to learn how to type JJJ, FFF again. They had a good base knowledge of it, so we allowed them to skip that part. So yes, it is retained year over year. So every year they use the product. If it's the same account, it'll keep their progress.
Okay, excellent. I noticed that Tia had asked where to find the dyslexia font again. I want to make sure we actually get to this because I personally love all this accessibility stuff. I'm glad we were able to do it in the off season here over summer. So I want to clearly show it for those of you that need it. You can get to it two different ways. You can get to it through your class settings if you had a class, the whole class rather that needed this any of these features done. So you could see how I went to the class settings off my class listing page, or more likely you're going to get to it through a particular student. So I need to go to, let's say, Isaac's student settings here and go to accessibility and enable it for Isaac. And I don't know, I can save that, and then I can go into his profile and log in as him if I wanted to, and then see it actually in action. But he will have all of his typing related text shown in a dyslexic friendly font. Okay. Molly, you're in. Were there questions off your bullet points that you wanted to tackle off the pre-submitted questions? I'll leave that you to grab one of them.
Yeah, I think you'd highlighted a few of people who are in here currently, so I'll look at those first. So a couple of people had asked, what is an ideal amount of time for students to use our product, and how many lessons should students complete daily? So we've gotten this question a lot. I think it truly depends on your schedule and the time that you have available. We know that a lot of teachers use this as sort of an activity when students are coming into class, putting away their stuff, or at the end of the day as they're wrapping up. If you can get 10, 15 minutes, a day or 3 times a week, that's great. The beauty of our product is it's a plug and play, so students can work on it at their own pace. So you don't need to necessarily have the entire class working on it at the same time. They won't all be at the same place. They'll be working at their own speed. So really just make it work with your schedule, and hopefully you can come up with a routine that works for you. We had another question. Is this program best for all grades or just up through grade 8? It's all grades. We have lessons starting at kindergarten. I know as a former kindergarten teacher, it is so important to get those little ones practicing typing as early as possible so that we're not correcting bad habits, but rather teaching habits correctly. And then beyond 8th grade, we have a high school curriculum. We have an adult learner curriculum. I kind of briefly showed everybody some of the content that's in there, but we have things like resume practice, media literacy, all of this stuff that's very important for those older students as well. And then finally, I had one middle and high schoolers. Oh, okay. This one was I'm a homeschool parent teaching a typing lab for middle and high schoolers. How do I set up a program for this lab? I'm not sure. I think we pretty much answered how you would go about setting up a class. It wouldn't really be any different setting it up for a homeschool class as opposed to a larger class. I think Brent kind of went through that already. Yeah, I think that's it for everybody who's in this call. So I don't know, In, do you want to address? Did you already answer all of yours that?
I did. I how to best use the program.
We had
The
one.
apps, right.
We had one that just came up from Kathy here. Can you please talk more about the text to voice feature? All my students would benefit from this. Even helps with focus/attention. Brent, tech wise, you want to talk about the text to voice? It's like I think we mistakenly call it dictation.
Yes, it should be called read aloud. Yeah.
There you go.
That's exactly what it is. And it is actually a pretty dynamic feature. And it takes what's on the screen and it reads the student what's on the screen. That includes as they type. So if they need to type the quick brown fox, it'll say, type the word the. Start with T, use your left index finger to type T. It'll go through it like that with them. And so they know to use the left index finger, and then it'll be like, we use the right index finger to type the letter H. And if they get it right and they're faster than the dictation, it won't speak until it gives them a little fraction of a second, and then it'll tell them what to do next. So yeah, it's a pretty cool feature for a read aloud version of typing.com.
Also, I saw that Paula clarified that question a little bit further that I'd had. It was a question she had sent in before, but so she clarified that a little bit more in the chat. So how do I set up the curriculum for both middle and high school? You can, correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, or In, assign an individual curriculum to a student, correct? So if she's if she's in a homeschool class with multiple grade levels, you can assign one of your students to work on the 7th grade-based curriculum, and you can assign another student to be working on the 9th or the 10th grade-based curriculum. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and this is a plus only feature. It's an individual student setting, so it's part of our plus feature set.
Mm-hmm. So I saw from Kim in our pre-asked questions, I have questions about how to monitor student progress. Really, this is accomplished entirely through reports, you know, probably in 2 different main ways. Obviously, reports do it. We have summary level and more detail level reports. So you can see reports like current lesson progress. So you can see how far they are into certain lessons. You can, you know, drill into specific students. If you want to see a more visual representation of lesson progress, you can see it probably here. You know, obviously each student has their own sort of report suite as well, but essentially everything you should require. If there's stuff that we're missing, let us know, but you've got every single report you should need here and probably more. So that would entirely be in the report suite, and that's accessible to all plus and free users. And that also goes to Ryan had asked how to monitor the amount of time a student takes on a lesson or typing in the program, and that you could find those like under test reports, like student activity summary would give you sort of that kind of time spent metric you're looking for, probably.
And if you're in a class and you want to see the class progress, you can use the live activity tab. It refreshes every 30 seconds. You don't
It
have
is
to walk
on.
around the entire classroom, but you can monitor who's online and what they're doing and which section they're working on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's see. What
Oh, we
other
might want to
question?
answer. Kathy typed into the questions. I'm just going to click that I'll answer it live. Do you have remedial content for users who are consistently underperforming? One of the features that we hadn't sort of touched on is in our grade-based curriculum, you'll see that at the end of every unit, there's a section called personalized practice. And this is our adaptive typing. So for students who are having a hard time with specific letter keys, it will analyze what keys that student is struggling with, and it will give them extra practice with those specific keys. So that's a really cool feature. I feel like we probably don't talk about it enough because it's really great. You don't have to do anything except just have your student use this, and they will get extra practice with those specific keys. And it's specific to every individual student. So, really cool feature. Also, you can reassign, right, lessons. Kids can redo certain lessons if you're feeling like they need more practice with certain things. But the adaptive keys, our personalized practice is a really, really easy way to address that.
Yep. Great. Where are we with questions here? I don't see any open questions right now. I'm going to look at our list to see if there's anything we've missed from people that are in the call today. I think we might have grabbed everything from that list.
Oh, we just got a question. Someone's asking if we have a scope and sequence of all the skills. Yes, we do. And actually, as of this morning, I've just updated it to include all of our new AI units as well. So yes, Adrian, you're sharing. Can you show in the curriculum page? I think you're going to that.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
I'm there.
you're on it. You're there. So there's our scope and sequence. It doesn't yet reflect our new AI units, but I just sent that over, and we will update that. Hopefully this week. We'll see. But yes, so we do have a scope and sequence.
And I know somebody else had asked something about can we print out posters about the speed benchmarks for, I guess they wanted to put them around their classroom, which I think is a great idea. I would love to do printables around that stuff. But if you in lieu of those, if you haven't seen yet within this curriculum section for each grade, we created these speed benchmarks. Basically, on average, students complete this curriculum with speeds between. So by the end of this curriculum, they should be at somewhere in this speed range. This is based off our own data and tons and tons of this data, obviously aggregate anonymized data, but it allows us to come up with these type of recommendations, which is really fantastic. So if you're looking for where a student might enter fourth grade at, you could probably take the bottom end of that range as a rough benchmark. Maybe you even go back to third grade and look at like somewhere in here, but as you can see, there's a bit of overlap. So it's probably just worth taking the bottom end of that range for where they might enter versus where they might finish, which is what that's meant to represent, their finishing speed. So, okay. Uh, Anything else that you guys wanted to cover off the list, or I think we may be coming to a close and we can, let you get on with your afternoon or back to class if you're in your lunch break. I should say, if you have further feedback, you need something from sales, it's sales@typing.com. You need to have something from support, it's support@typing.com. We have a YouTube channel, it's got tons of videos on it. We do our best to sprinkle those videos throughout the product as well, like especially in the teacher portal. So you'll often see, as Brent pointed out, those little green help sort of icons in certain areas, and they're really contextual. So if it's in the classes section, it's about adding classes. If it's in curriculum, it's about curriculum. It's worth exploring those. And we've got the What's New section on typing.com and in your portal as well, where we're constantly updating that to tell you about stuff that's changed in the product. And please have a read of that because we're constantly adding features, and would love to hear from people in whatever manner they can send us feedback about what they enjoy, what they like, what they wish was different. And then, of course, we have Help Scout, which is all of our help articles. So you can, those are also linked to within the help section of the teacher portal. But thank you for giving us your time today. This has been super great, and I appreciate everyone turning out and asking us questions and keeping us on our toes. So I hope to see you at the next one, or maybe one of your colleagues, August 28th at the same time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific or 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.